All right, so we're
so
going to be
much.
talking about a story today.
Yeah, a book.
Well,
So
the book is part of the story.
Of course, the book is like what happened after the story. You know,
Yeah.
The reason why she put the book together
Yeah.
is why we're inviting her in today. So we're going to have a guest, Bola Tito Bez Idakula.
She's lovely, and she is a combination of beauty, brains, and of course a lot of things.
Strong will.
Strong will.
Yeah, of course.
You know, she's also been through a lot, and she's joining us this morning to talk about this story that is a compelling story. It's a story of self-worth, she says, true love, and finding freedom.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. I'm like, oh, is that me? Beauty brains, all of that. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And relaxed. All right.
Early morning, chilling, yeah.
Okay, so honestly, there's so many questions we have for you. You know, the story is quite powerful. Been able to breeze through quite a bit of it. But, you know, I think it is one of the most cliche questions, you know. But why did you think you had to put your story in a book?
You know, honestly, I didn't think I had to.
Okay.
It was more like an assignment, basically. It was more, my faith is everything I do. And at some point, God just started saying to me, you need to share your story. Okay. I don't think I would ever have written this story if it was a choice, because it's not something you really want people to see. But for me, what it's done is I realized that so many people that have read the story are like, oh, wait, are you talking about my life? Okay. I needed to hear this. Thank you for sharing this, because they realize that they're not alone. They realize that, you know, they can overcome whatever struggles they have experienced. And that's really what it came from.
Okay. So let's talk about the story. I mean, you've gone through this, you've come out on the other side, and your story is inspiring to many people, people who have actually heard the story or read it. But can you just take us through this entire process?
The whole story.
Well, not the whole story.
Of course not.
If anybody wants the whole story, they have to buy the book, right?
Yes, they should buy the book.
Yeah. Just take us through, in a nutshell, everything.
So the book is called Royalty, and basically what it is
I'm actually more focused on you. What happened to you?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. The reason why I'm telling you why the book is called Royalty. So it's called Royalty because I had to go through a journey to finding who I am, and I am royalty. And why is because I had to, growing up, even from my foundational years to my teen years, to becoming an adult, to becoming married, so many things happened, right? You're born clean, and then I was born clean, and then I came into this family. And from being part of a polygamous home to my teen years where I made some mistakes, I don't want to give everything away, to losing a child as a married woman. Everything starts to make you think, who am I? What am I worth? What's my story? You start dealing with issues of guilt, of shame, of depression, of not wanting to be alive. You don't know if you're worth anything. You don't know if anybody loves you. You know, you have those feelings. And so even when I lost my daughter, the biggest feeling for me was guilt, shame, depression. Why did this happen to me? And at the end of it all, when I started to really ask God questions, I realized that the things that happened to me do not define who I am. Who I am remains who I am. I'm still the daughter of a king. I'm still royalty. I'm still valued, regardless of all the horrible things that might have happened or I might have experienced. And that's really the journey on the story.
Okay, so I realize that you've come full circle and you've been able to come out of it, but what was it that helped you to get this far?
The grace of God. Not to sound because people always say, oh, Christians, but you know, for me, it's really the grace of God, and it was in a different kind of way. There's this whole, oh, God would do everything, but no, for me, it was a relationship, right? I kept thinking God hates me. God must really hate me. I mean, I did some of the worst things you can imagine. So of course, I'm being punished. This is punishment for all the things I did wrong. It's because I'm such a bad person, and I had to start finding out that, no, actually, God still loves you regardless of that. And the moment I started accepting that love, that regardless of all the mistakes I've made, regardless of all the stupid things I've done, God still loves me. And the moment I started accepting that was when I could finally see myself as being somebody that could achieve whatever God had called her to do. But before that, I didn't know. So
let's talk about, we're going to talk about forgiveness as a concept in a few minutes. But I just want to take you back a little bit. The loss of the child. Can you tell us what happened exactly? You know, I mean, you went to the hospital, you had your 9 months, and then what happened?
So it's one of those things where, oh God, you know, this happened. I have a baby now, so it's really weird when you have to go back to 2015. So I was pregnant, everything was fine, and then in Nigeria, everything was fine. I kept saying, oh, something is wrong. It doesn't look like the development is right. No, no, it's fine, you're just overthinking it. Got to the States, and first scan, they're like, your dates, this baby's dates is not, did some tests. Oh, she has a congenital diaphragmatic hernia. What's that? We have our diaphragm, it separates our lungs, our hearts from our intestines, and hers had not developed fully. So what happens is the intestines are going up, the heart isn't growing, all this great news. And so she was born. I mean, I went into labor. In fact, I was like over 40 weeks pregnant. Went into labor and then I gave birth to her. I think how many hours in labor? 13 hours. And then, she made like a day, because that was even a surprise. I didn't even expect her to be born alive, but she was. And I remember I was just thinking, okay, maybe this can still be fine. But eventually, no lungs. You can't breathe without your lungs. No heart. You can't really do much without that. And so she passed away, and that was probably, it's funny because every time I think you're dealing with it, but it's still always so painful to talk about. And that was one of the most pivotal points in my life where I thought, there has to be more. And I started asking the questions. And I had to go back to my childhood. Who am I? And the issues I dealt with, the biggest things for me were the shame, the guilt. I had to start dealing with those things. I had to start unraveling. And it was actually by that one loss. And I think that's one of the most powerful things for me, that this one thing that could break you changed everything about my life.
Wow. Amazing. Right. I mean, when we talk about this someone coming out, in triumph and, coming out on the other side and then helping other people to also strengthen themselves and develop. Because when people hear your story, one of the things that, we hear all the time is, especially with teenage girls, sometimes they're just tossed into this whole big world of lots of things happening around them that they don't understand. Nobody's ever taught them or taken them through this whole process.
And you seem to have broken it down
as
much as possible in your book.
Yeah, and the first thing that, you read in this book is Larry Olishola's foreword, where he said that it's not a book, it's a diary. And it's sort of like just takes you through life's process, and you were being very honest and open about many personal things.
In fact, I'll use the word explicit.
Yes.
You did go quite explicit in the book. You use a lot of terms that are...
Nobody wants to say, right?
Nobody wants to use.
Past relationships and,
Were you on the fence about using some of those terms? Actually talking, going as deep as to use
I think
a descriptive...
we're all over everybody trying to sugarcoat things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, for me as a Christian, and which is where everything comes from me, and sharing the freedom of God, I'm tired of us pretending that, let's use the right words.
Okay.
And then somebody can relate to you because you're trying to use the right words. And they're thinking, she can't understand me because the way she's saying it can't be the way it was for me. Yeah. But it's true, and I didn't want to say it, but yes. Did I have abortions? I did. That's the truth of it. I can say, I got rid of it, but that's what it is. Okay. Did I have a miscarriage? Yes. Was I sexually abused? Yes. That's what it is. Nobody can heal if you're still trying to make it look pretty. It's not pretty. It's not. And how am I supposed to help somebody else that has a crappy experience by trying to make it look pretty? It is what it is. And it's time for us to say it the way it is. That's the truth.
And I have a feeling putting everything down on paper was one of the ways you were able to get to where you are now?
Yes. I didn't want to write this book. I told everybody I never wanted to write this book. Oh my God, if I had a choice. But it's been one of the most powerful things I've ever done in my life. Okay. For myself, firstly, but for others. Like the fact that every day somebody comes to me and say, Pastor, thank you for that. Thank you for letting me know that I'm okay. God loves me. It's important, but the freedom it comes with, it's not holding you hostage anymore. Nothing, like you're always worried that what will people say when they find out, what would they do? There's a freedom to just releasing. And that's what I got, really. Yeah.
Wow, I mean, it's a... So when you talk about, I don't know whether you wanted to dab a little bit.
For a second, you guys kind of got me there.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm never going to cry.
Sorry.
I've stopped crying, but apparently it still comes,
Yeah, so let's talk about the support that you got. You've talked about the spiritual side of it, you know, the grace of God, seeing you through a lot of things. Well, how about your husband?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask exactly that question.
You know, a lot of times, you know, when women talk about their story and everybody's crying at home and everything, there's usually just a guy in the background that nobody ever sees or talks about. But let's talk about him.
I think I was very clear. Everything I've been through, it's our lives, right? So he's been very present. Like the loss of our daughter, I think I shared my testimony and I said in all of this, I wrote my story, but I know the pain he went through as well. And it's harder for him because he's also trying to reassure me. But I also see that he's in pain and I have to acknowledge that. And we kind of forget the men. So a friend of mine was saying to me, oh, her mom has lost 3 kids and so she's just very nice to her mom and her dad is strong. And I said, but you realize that your dad also lost those children. And we forget that. And men are also struggling. And for me, my husband is just my blessing. And I guess what has made it possible for us to be here is because we've always been very open with each other. So he knew the things that were on my mind. And so we could have honest conversations and he could tell me the things that were on his mind. And we allow each other that the most vulnerable, say what's on your mind. It's me and you. Yeah, and so he's a strong guy. He's a supportive guy. He's awesome. And yeah.
Okay.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, the book itself
I feel like saying thank you. You know, thank you on behalf of all the young ladies, women out there who probably needed to hear this. You were very forthright. You were very open about so many issues that I haven't even seen on paper in a very long time. And I have a feeling you probably had a target audience. Who were you writing it for?
Myself, people like me. You know, there's one thing I always said to people, I wanted to help people and I thought I had to go to the slums and help. And no, there are people that are dealing with some serious emotional burdens and that was me. I'm in my 30s, but I'm thinking about the girl that is 18 and nobody's talking to her. I'm thinking about the woman that is 50 and is still dealing with these things and nobody has said anything to her. So I'm talking to people that they look perfect on the outside, but inside they're broken. They're not sure who they are. They're not sure if they're worth anything. They're still insecure about who they are. And those are the people I'm looking at.
There are people who are dealing with depression on a daily basis, but still going to work.
Yeah, exactly. And everything is all great. But guess what? She's going back home and I could go on, but I feel like I don't have all the time.
No, we are actually going to go to a break right now. But once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And the book is Royalty, the story of self-worth, true love, and finding freedom. Absolutely amazing, by Tito Bez Idakula.
Thank you.
Wow, amazing, amazing, amazing.
Honestly, I'm looking at you. It's like you have a halo around you or something. Like really, like
she walked in with angels.
Getting through something like this must have been really challenging, and I think using it as a point of contact to other women out there. You know, you could also share your experiences if you're willing and open enough to do so. We have an email address you could use. I believe it's wakeupnigeria@tvcontinental.tv. Send us your emails and let's see how we can communicate with you.
Thank you so much, Bola, for joining us.
Thank you.